line with me is someone who I've very, very fortunate and very honored to consider acquaintance, if I could. I don't know if I want to use the word friend because, quite frankly, I don't know if I've earned that privilege yet. But I have on the line Evette. You can find her on amateurporn.com under the tag HoneyCakes. Hi, Evette. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well, and I would say that you could consider yourself a friend. I consider you a friend,
Okay,
for sure.
I can mark that off the bucket list then. So you and I have been talking for quite some time, and just so we could get it out of the way, your official title, we kind of came up with a title because you do a variety of different things, but the best description, which is a broad description of what you do, you're an independent adult content creator. You mostly work online. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I tried the stripping game for a minute, and that wasn't for me. I very much enjoy having the internet medium. I think because I've been using the internet for so long that it's really comfortable for me. I feel like I have a lot of control. I can access all kinds of resources, and I can find people that are looking for what I can provide. Absolutely.
Well, there's a massive difference between stripping and creating content out of the privacy of your own home, and privacy being the big thing. If you're out there at a strip club or a ripper joint and you are within contact distance of the patrons that are there, and the privacy and the comfort level kind of has to be something you have to either become accustomed to or just kind of throw out the window and throw all your faith into the people running that establishment, which can be quite daunting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have absolutely the utmost respect for girls who strip in clubs. I just couldn't do it because of my schedule primarily, and I feel like because of what I've gotten so used to providing on the internet has been a lot of specialized niche stuff that it just didn't feel like I fit in very well there.
Okay. What exactly is the niche stuff that you provide?
Wow, so I provide usually stuff on custom commission basis. So I have people that request a lot of fetish work, people that want me to strip my clothes off and dance around, some people that, want me to do some more hardcore things. It really just runs the gamut on what people are requesting from me. A lot of stuff I do is personalized and really doesn't see the light of day on the internet. It just goes from me to whatever custom client ordered, or the video or photos or whatever. But then also I do a lot of stuff that's just like, oh, I feel like doing this today. Why not film it, see what people think?
You get the opportunity to be creative as well as to basically fill the desires and fantasies of other people.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've always been a bit of an exhibitionist. I've always been a very open-minded person sexually anyway. So it's fun. I get to experiment with a lot of things that maybe I wouldn't have thought of before. And because I've had so many clients ask for so many different things, it kind of opens up the door creatively in my brain where I'm like, what if I combine these two things? Or, it's even allowed me to experiment with things that I found really stimulating that I never would have expected to really be into.
It really opens your world up.
Yeah, it's super fun.
How much someone like you get started into this? You said you're an exhibitionist at heart, but there's I would have to believe that there's quite the jump between being an exhibitionist on your own accord and then moving into basically trying to create a lifestyle and a business out of this.
So I think what happened was I was living in a foreign country at the time and had some immigration snafus. And the person I was with at the time, they had a really great job, and I was able to help them with their job and leading tours and guiding people, which is something I really enjoy. But I needed a way to make money on my own time, and it was something that I had always been interested in. And since it would allow me to keep a completely open schedule, I was like, why not now? There's no I think for a lot of people, they wouldn't go into doing such a job if they had any desires to work with children in the future, or if someone was thinking about having kids in the future, then they'd probably be like, oh, I don't want them to find things on the internet that may be deemed unsavory in whatever culture they're living in. For me personally, no interest in ever working with kids, no interest in ever having kids. and no real judgment that could come my way that would really upset my life. So I figured, no, why not now? And I started doing some research. I started reading, and I joined a campsite, like one of those live streaming sites. And I did that for a while. I thought it was fun, but then I started asking myself, well, a lot of these people, they want pretty much the same thing, and I have to sit in front of my computer for so many hours. And honestly, that cuts into the time when I could be enjoying the hobbies and other stuff that I like to do. So then I started getting into making custom videos and custom photos, because then I could do a performance once and then turn around and sell it to whoever would want it without having to be in my bedroom all the damn time.
You're scheduled to be on camera from this hour to this hour, and I can imagine that being in that world, it can be quite frustrating and or boring, because essentially you are basically required to be on stage on all the time and performing, and you have a very, very little freedom.
Yeah. Or I mean, when I was live streaming, I spent a lot of time just like chatting with people that would come into my room and engaging in conversation. And then, you're doing the hustle. You're trying to get them to take you into a private session or send you tips or whatever. And that's fun, but it was very hard for me to establish, I feel like, a lasting customer-client relationship in that kind of environment, because you can't really, like, have a deep conversation with one person. You've got 6 people trying to talk to you about 6 different things. And for me, I'd much rather than having someone come in and just, buy a private session and then disappear, I'd like to, every business likes repeat customers. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I find that what worked better for me was getting to know people, getting to know my clients, getting to know, like, not only what their fantasies are, but what's the root of those fantasies and what other things can they connect to it. How can we make this a better experience where they feel like they're getting the most bang for their buck?
You have a very unique situation, though, because you live in a very different part of the United States, and it has its own culture, it has its own atmosphere, it has its own environment. You live in Alaska.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I live in the biggest, most wild state, and part of why I do is because I really enjoy a lot of outdoor pursuits. I love skiing, I love biking, backpacking, and the state has the most of that to offer. It does get a little complicated for filming in the winter, because people will be like, oh, will you film this outside? And I'm like, it's 40 below. No.
You're not paying me enough.
It's dark.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take all my lights out there in the dark. Well, it's freezing cold and get naked for you. I mean, maybe there's a dollar point where I would be like, oh, yeah, I'll do that, because I'm an experimental brave girl. But no one's offered me that much money yet.
I don't know what someone would ask or how much they would have to pay, but here's hoping that, at some point in time, it would definitely be worth it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if it comes up, hey, if there's someone out there listening that really wants to see that, let's negotiate. Let's sort it out.
By all means. Amateurporn.com/honeycakes, all one word. You have an opportunity to also take advantage of the environment and the atmosphere, as well as just the beautiful scenery in your area, as some of your content is outside, and you take advantage of not only the forestry, but also like the lakes and the rivers and whatnot. Do you have like that nature, creativity, artistic side in you naturally?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Growing up, I was always out camping and backpacking and stuff with my family, and it instilled in me a great respect and deep love of natural surroundings in the wilderness. I feel very at peace outside, and what was, like I said, my hobbies like skiing and all that. It's all about getting outside. I think I feel most free and most comfortable in the out of doors. And yeah, like I said, Alaska's got so much of it to offer. It's all so nice. I always tell people you can't honestly take a bad landscape photo here.
Really?
Yeah, you can't. It's just too pretty.
It's something to do with United States as well as being in Alaska, is the fact that it seems as though the government climate and when it comes and the opinion when it comes to adult workers has changed dramatically. For myself personally, I believe that as long as you're not doing any harm to anyone else, I mean, to each their own. What they do in their private life or what they do to create a profession, as long as it's not illegal, then have at her. But it seems as though a lot of politicians are speaking up lately, saying that adult workers of not just specific jobs, but all across the board are to be regulated and or have a cease and desist order, or they're just an abomination. I'm just borrowing words to modern society and a quote-unquote right way of life. I've made my opinion known that to each their own, and for crying out loud, leave the people the fuck alone. But I wanted to get your thoughts on the political climate, as it were.
Well, I'm pretty opinionated about it. I've been doing what I do. I've been doing this for about 6 years now. I've seen a lot of ups and downs happen in the economy with it, like in the industry's economy, and it's already, things are already strange because you have companies like Pornhub, which set out to utterly destroy the market, and there's plenty of information on how they did that and how, those people aren't being held accountable for what they've done as far as like piracy. And you have independent workers who are suffering the most because of the political environment and what's going on economically in the industry. And it's always been a strained industry. It's always been something that people have looked down on. And it's utterly absurd to me. It's utterly absurd because even monkeys will participate in sex work. They did a study where they found that, when they gave certain monkeys, specifically male monkeys, currency with which to acquire food from handlers, the female monkeys, or I'm not sure if they did it with both sexes, would happily do sexual favors in exchange for this currency. So when people say prostitution or sex work is the oldest business industry in the world, it absolutely is. Because if it's a win-win, it's a win-win. There are plenty of people, I think, that come to me that don't want to waste their time in the dating scene. Either they have too much career involvement, they don't have time for it, and then if they have a very specific fetish, trying to find someone who's also going to be down for that, just because it's very complicated, it can result in a lot of emotional turmoil. There's absolutely nothing wrong with sex and sexuality. There's nothing inherently shameful about it. And I think that there are people in our government who find it inherently shameful because of their upbringing or maybe because of their own insecurities. But I think it's 100% not right for them to take their personal opinions on sex and try to apply them to an entire country of people of diverse backgrounds and needs and desires. It's crazy to me. I agree with you. If nobody's getting hurt, if everyone's consenting, where's the problem?
Exactly. And that seems to be the mindset of modern society these days, where it's everyone's private business has to be someone else's public business, and it's just not necessary. You don't need to know what this person is doing or the fact that what they're eating is GMO or non-GMO, or if they're bisexual or not, or if they go to church and which church do they go to. Is it really anyone else's business other than their own? And if it's that much of a concern for you, then that person needs to go out and get a hobby and distract themselves from other people's lives.
Exactly. If your life is so boring that you've got to get wrapped up in other people's goings-on, seriously, please get a hobby. Or do something with your life. I'm not particularly religious. I was raised religious, but I'm not going to tell someone that the money that they're spending at the church is terrible, it's bad, it supports things that I don't believe in. Who cares? The only thing I care about as far as the church is churches being, tax exempt, and some churches using that to their advantage to fleece people. But I'm not going to go and try to pass legislation that's going to get into the lives of every individual pastor.
No,
we've got time for that. We've got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, exactly. Like this whole North Korea bullshit.
Yeah, we've got crazy things going on with our foreign policy. We've got crazy things going on with immigration and children being detained. And I'm sorry, there are more important things to focus on, like issues with labor, that focusing on bringing a hammer down on sex workers, you're just hurting some of the most vulnerable people. It's like there are a lot of women who are doing some sort of sex work as a survival method, as a way to get by, and taking down Backpage, bringing down the hammer on them. It's not going to make us a more moral country at all. You're just hurting people who are vulnerable, and you're making them more vulnerable, and it's just not right.
Now, what we're talking about, just to clarify, what we're talking about is people who are actively and willing, and of course are entrepreneurs and creating a business out of providing entertainment, pleasure, and what have you. We're not talking about people who are forced into this industry, and I wouldn't even say they're forced into this industry. They're forced into slavery, which is completely different from anything that is even remotely close to the adult entertainment world. Slavery and entertainment are not one and the same. They're not even on the same coin.
Yeah, exactly. And my personal opinion is because of capitalism, we all have to do things that we aren't 100% happy with. Like when people say porn performers or sex workers sell their bodies, I think a coal miner sells their body just as much. I mean, it's just it's to look at one and say it's morally bankrupt, and look at the other and not say that just because sex is involved. This is absurd to me. I think that we're all trying to get by in this world, and however someone chooses to do that, they should be able to do it with as much safety as possible. I'm for the complete legalization of sex work in every way, so that if someone is being hurt or forced, they can go and seek, help from someone. Right now, in the climate that we're in, if someone is being forced, they can't go and get any help for fear of being charged with something themselves. And that's abhorrent to me. That's amoral to me.
Yeah.
It's not the work that's immoral. It's the climate that we've constructed around it, which is just crazy in America right now.
That's a great way of thinking about things too. Is that everyone is valuing their time, their effort, their energy, and their sweat in one way or another. I mean, I get paid to do what I do, and at the end of the day, being in broadcasting, I become exhausted. I'm not physically doing anything, but I'm mentally working myself as well as I'm using my instrument, which is my voice, and I'm still getting paid for that exhaustion. I'm getting paid for that time and that effort and the energy that I'm putting into it, just like anyone else. So why should an industry been one of the key factors for what made North America what it is today? And I'm talking about adult entertainment and the escort, the escort world, prostitution, if you want to call it that, which was
I think sex work is probably
sex work. Yes,
the most. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, but when the quote-unquote Wild West, which wasn't the Wild West, but when America and Canada were being built, it was the brothels, it was the businesswomen, it was the people who helped create these towns that grew into not only incredible communities, but booming cities. They're the ones who helped make what countries and cities are today. So to say that it's now immoral just because so-and-so politician or so-and-so fill in blank here thinks that it's not a part of their world, then so what? Your world is not a part of my world. Why should I be interjecting into what you believe in if it differs from my own?
No politician should be bringing their personal moral judgments into their workplace as a government official.
I agree.
That's just keep us separate, for the love of God, because our country is so diverse. We have people from so many different walks of life and backgrounds, that to try and apply with a broad stroke one type of morality for everyone is folly. It seems ineffective from the get. It's not going to work. Stop trying.
Yeah, it's insensitive, it's narrow-minded, and it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Completely absurd.
I'm so glad we had this talk. And let's just be clear here. I mean, according to recent news, I mean, Donald Trump is definitely a fan of porn workers in one way or another.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny. A lot of the politicians who will get up and say something, publicly, denouncing the adult industry, you'll find that over and over, those are the ones who are getting exposed for for some of the most depraved things, or who accidentally write into their Twitter instead of Google search something about looking for big tits or sharing whatever photos, and it's like, all right, buddy, little two-faced there, huh?
They're
do enjoy our work.
Yeah, they're essentially just trying to hide and deny their own inhibitions and past.
Yeah. I think it's because we're also in America. I think in a lot of states, like, sex ed is severely lacking, and people have some really, really strongly held convictions, misled though they may have been, regarding sex. And it's strange because you have these people with very intense desires, which are normal, but then they've been brought up in this culture of shame about it, where it's sad, really, you know, because if only everyone could just, like, let loose and just relax and enjoy things sexually without feeling like they needed to apologize for it somehow, or to be embarrassed for it. Like, to take something as fun and freeing as sexuality and turn it into this shame-filled mess. It's just like, why are you doing this? Why?
It really comes down to the fact that, you know, people need to stop butting into other people's private lives. If you're not hurting anyone, if you're not doing anything illegal, and no one is being affected in a negative way, then what is it any business of anyone else's?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I will say that I know it's not really anyone's business what I do, like, as in this job of mine. Job/art, I don't know. I see it as kind of an art in a way. You know, I'm just brushing off my shoulder a little bit. It's artistic.
You know what? I can concur. I can concur. There are aspects, like deep aspects of what you do would be considered art.
Thank you. But I'm very open with all of my friends about it, with people in my life. There was a time where I was very clandestine about it because I wasn't sure, like, how am I going to feel if someone brings it up in a way to hurt me. I'm at the point in my life and in my career with this where I feel like there's enough content of mine on the internet that even if I did try to deny it, there's no way. But I feel like the only way that it's going to be accepted as legitimate work is if people routinely repeat that it is valid work. And that includes, you know, and that goes for people who are in a position where they can safely talk about it. I'm not saying that every person who does this should be open about it, because absolutely I don't think that. I think that it's going to vary hugely based on the individual. Me personally, I'm open about it with my friends and my coworkers, and they feel comfortable enough with me that if they have questions about it, they can ask about it. No one's ever tried to blackmail me over it. Because, I mean, what are they going to say? They're going to be like, I'll tell somebody. It's like, oh, everybody knows, dude.
Yeah. Kind of already beat you to the punch.
I don't know why you think you're holding something over me, but you're not really, because everybody knows. But I feel like I want to foster an environment where people can accept it as a job and see it as a job.
Amen. Kudos to you.
Thanks.
Have you and will you at any point in time attend any sort of adult convention?
I would really like to. I don't know if those conventions are open to independent content creators very much. I always thought of them more of like as an industry thing. Mm-hmm. I know that I would like to attend one. I doubt there's going to be one in my state.
In Alaska?
And yeah. I doubt there's going to be one up here, and I think that the only thing really inhibiting me from going to something like that is I look at plane tickets going to other places, and I'm like, ooh, Japan for powder skiing or convention? And that's a tough choice for me. I'm always kind of like torn between, you know, my love of adventure and my love for what I do with this. But I think someday I'd really like to. I've also thought about maybe like heading down to California or Seattle or something and doing some scenes with other people. I think that might be really fun. But for the time being, I'm I'm okay with having absolute control over everything that gets put out.
So maybe sometime in the near future, once you become much bigger and a more successful business person, then maybe a convention in the future. But as of right now,
I would love to.
yeah.
Yeah, I would like to. I just haven't looked into much of the details of it. Yeah, it's something I would do. I just haven't thought about it much.
What is the proper way for someone who is interested in any one of your services? I guess is that a proper way of saying
Yeah,
it?
that would be fine of putting it. Yeah.
Okay, so what's a proper way for someone to approach you? And I'm not just saying like they found you on a website and they pay a certain amount. I mean, like as in demeanor and attitude and even just in language.
I get so many different types of people with different approaches. I don't think there's any one way that works better than anything else. As long as someone approaches me like with respect or super casual and friendly is fine. Just don't expect me to dirty talk with you for free. I guess don't ask for a bunch of freebies out the gate. I'm fine with sending people little teasers and stuff for fun once we've established a dialogue. But really, just come and you can come by video or just come and send me a message and say hello and let me know what you're interested in. Or I mostly just start things off very casual and friendly with a conversation, and then if I'm not feeling comfortable, I'll generally let someone know. But my bar for that is pretty way out. So
Gotcha.
I'm
So
comfortable with a lot.
So imagine walking in, like basically what you're trying to say is imagine walking into a specialty store, a specialty establishment, and it's that type of demeanor and that type of attitude. You walk in where you are going into an exchange of ideas and business and finances, and just that politeness and that manner of going about it is basically the best way to approach someone not unlike yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the most open to someone who is upfront about what they want, but who is also friendly. Who we probably have some things in common. I really enjoy the conversational aspect, getting to know my clients and who they are. If they want that kind of relationship with me, if they want someone that they can talk to about all kinds of things, as well as someone to fulfill their fantasies, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm absolutely open to people who want to keep things just business. The number one attitude that I dislike is someone who wants to take up a lot of my time and isn't interested in actually making it worth my time.
Gotcha. Your time is valuable. You gotta make sure that it is worth that value.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And final question, and feel free to answer this any way you want. If someone were to send you a gift or to spoil you with a gift from a certain genre, and I'll use an example, what would it be? For me, if someone showed up at my door with a handful of comic books, you got me for the night.
Comic books is for you?
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. If someone was to get me a gift, that would just make me super stoked. I'm a huge fan of sex toys, metal music, gift cards for tattoos. See, I have a lot of, as far as like material things go, like I've got a huge, I guess nice lingerie. Nice lingerie, sex toys, and tattoo gift cards.
Wow.
That'll do it.
That sounds like an evening altogether.
Yeah. Well, I like to provide options.
Sex toys, metal music of any type.
Mostly death metal, grind. I really like Full of Hell, Heat Creeper. I just went to the Northwest Terror Fest down in Seattle, and I saw a whole bunch of bands that I liked, that I knew I liked, and then of course the live performance was like, oh no, I really like them. So yeah, metal music of a lot of genres. I wouldn't necessarily say every.
Gotcha. Okay. Gift certificate for tattoos. What's your favorite style of tattoo?
Oh, it runs the gamut.
Really?
It really does. I just love getting new artwork. I like having something that I can take with me forever. That really no one's going to steal my art collection unless they start lopping off parts of my body.
Let's not go there.
No. I mean, I'm a person who generally has a lot of knives on them at any given time, so I'm not really worried about that.
Oh, really? What about if someone showed up and presented you with like a specialty knife or a replica knife from like a movie or a prop or something like that?
That would be cool. I like that too. That's awesome. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I really like knives with a Scandinavian grind on them. It's a certain way of beveling the steel. It's really lasts forever. It's a longer edge. I like bushcraft knives. I like archery. I do. So like my hobbies are all over the place. So people could surprise me with like any number of things, and I'd be like, "Hey, dude, thanks."
Well, there you go. So I really want to thank you for your time. And as you stated before, your time is very valuable. And it's been something that I've been looking forward to for such a long time, of having a chance to finally sit down with you. I've been speaking with Evette. You can find her at amateurporn.com/HoneyCakes. She's an independent adult content creator, and by far an incredible light. She is you are very much an incredible person. Not only are you lighthearted, you are also very positive, and you interact on a personal level that is not seen in most areas of employment, in most areas of the world, that if they did take on your mentality and your lightheartedness as well as your care, I think that this world would probably be a heck of a lot friendlier and a lot less stressed out.
Oh, that's so nice of you to say. I'm blushing.
So again, go to amateurporn.com/honeycakes if you want to know more about Evette, what she provides, and the type of person that she is. And I do recommend, at the very least, saying hi, because you are an incredible person, and definitely, at the very least, getting to know on a casual level. And then if there's something out there that anyone is entertained about, even possibly you can provide for them, they will not be disappointed at all.
Thank you so much. This is really fun.
Thank you, Evette.